Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Gary A. Swaby, and you're now listening to or watching the Powercast. And today we will be recapping Power Book 4 Force Season 1, Episode 4, and the name of the episode is Storm Clouds. I'm here with Mr. Rich Bailey Jr. How are you doing, Rich?
Doing good, Gary. What's up, listeners and viewers?
What's up, indeed? And I'm also here with Miss Dana Abercrombie. How are you, Dana?
Hello, everyone. I am excited to talk about this. People are back. Yay.
Indeed, more people back. Yep. So yeah, this was an interesting episode of Power. Things are, heating up little by little. It's getting very interesting. So yeah, we're gonna have lots to say. As usual, we're gonna get to our takeaway segment first, and then we'll have our questions and discussions. But first of all, let me just remind you all to take some time to check out the channel, see if there's any more content you like, because we do cover other TV shows and movies and video games and that sort of thing. So go and check out, all the other content we're working on at the moment. And consider also leaving a comment on the video to help, our engagement and everything. And then also like the video and subscribe also, if you like what you see here. And we appreciate all of our commenters, all the people who engage with us every week. We're very thankful that we have like a little community here of people who love Power. So thank you to all of you. But yeah, like I said, we're going to get into our takeaways now. And in this segment, we're just going to go around the table here and highlight stuff that we personally liked from the episode and things that stood out to us. So this week, Dana is actually going first. So go ahead, Dana. Let us know your takeaways.
All right. I liked this episode very much so, and it wasn't really for all of the parts that was the big action parts and the we're going to war part. It was more for the quiet moments. It started off kind of with the beginning. Well, it's the other beginning after Tommy and Gloria's lovely bathroom, kitchen scene. We had Diamond's brother. No, it was Diamond, sorry. He was talking about everything that he wanted to do in life, how he wanted to go to college. He wanted to get out of the game. He wanted to just basically lead a nice, normal life. But then he was sent to jail for 15 years. And how his life was interrupted because of that. And it just really showed everything that he wanted that was outside of the world in the game, and he wanted to succeed and just kind of be normal. And obviously that didn't happen. And so it was those moments, it was the moments that we had, especially with Tommy and Black Tommy, JP as you guys call him, those nice moments where he was sitting with it would be JP's father. So no relation to Tommy, but still you would kind of father but not father figure. And how they was just talking about life and talking about basically their shared dislike for Kate, put it lightly. But just, talking about how things was back then. And it kind of reminded me of, even if it wasn't said, but it made me wonder if Tommy was around all sides of his family, including the Black side, would he turn out any differently? How would life have been for him? Would him and JP kind of switch roles? So I just really wondered about that. And I just really liked how they just had these really nice moments where he's reconnecting with family and kind of getting to know a side of himself that he really didn't know. And this made me really wonder about JP being the innocent. We kind of had this discussion previously. I know you're introducing us to someone who doesn't have any parts of the game, who Tommy is slowly getting close to. And I was wondering, will JP end up surviving either this season or the next season? But I like what they're doing with him so far. Then we have another thing with Victor. We already know that Victor wants to get away from his daddy, his Da, as he calls him, Flynn. And so this time he's really going behind his back, and he's really setting up meetings and going and talking to Tommy and talking to Diamond. But Flynn, being the older man, I've lived here, I've done this, I've lived and done this, like a parent would. I've thought of this before you was even born. I already know that you've been hanging out with Tommy. And that entire interaction that he had with Tommy saying, why are you taking my son under with you? And he's like, no, maybe you think of it like me, I'm raising him up. And even Victor said, he has to choose between being a man or being a boy. Staying with his father is going to make him a boy. And I really liked how people are just slowly coming into their own in this episode. We have Victor is stepping up and taking charge. Granted, things didn't work out how he wanted to with the Serbs, but he's trying. He's initiating something. And then we also get into Claudia, and I think her name is Mai, or I don't want to mispronounce anything, but I believe it's Mai. It's Mei, Ming or Mai, but the girlfriend, and how I originally thought nobody knew where the drugs came from. I thought it was her. We had other theories of where it actually originated from, but we're introduced to Dahlia, who is the chemist, and it was really weird because I didn't know what was going on at first with that whole interaction between Dahlia and Claudia and Mai. They was blackmailing her to work as a chemist on these pills, and using the fact that it originally was supposed to be a diet pill that failed terribly, but instead it makes for a great drug to get high off of, which we've seen plenty of times. Just set aside the opioid addiction for a second, but we know of heart medications that didn't start out as being heart medications. They actually started out for being erectile dysfunction medications for ED. Yeah, a lot of people who like to take heart medications, actually it's for ED. And a lot of insurance is a weird thing. And I can kind of speak to this really quickly because I have heart failure. So some of the medication that I had to get approved of, you have to go through this huge process for them to understand why do you need, especially a female, why do you need basically a ED medication for your heart? But a lot of failed medications for erectile dysfunction ends up being the heart medications. So, yay, nice history story there. So I really liked how they're bringing her in and how she was legit confused. And I didn't know if she was confused because she was playing confused or I don't trust Mai. And I say I don't trust Mai because the way how that whole conversation went down, it seems like Mai is holding a lot of information from Claudia. And when Dahlia was confused, maybe it was some really good acting, or maybe she just generally was confused about what's going on, and Mai didn't have a conversation with her. So I don't know who actually is the creator of these drugs now. And the way Dahlia is playing it, I'm confused by her reaction. So it's either really great acting or something's up my sleeve, which means that Mai and Claudia obviously it's gonna end up in some kind of a big fight. We do know that partnerships does not last very long in the Power universe or just in general. So I'm waiting to see how that will just dissipate and fall apart. Lastly, another thing that was really interesting, JP and his son. We know that that's JP's son, but JP doesn't know that is his son. I have so many questions about that. It was really interesting because it was like the friend wanted to, let's rob the place, but he was so adamant to not rob the place. He instead wanted to burn it down, which I thought was a bit more savage than let's just rob the place. What kind of hate in your heart is going on there? So I really want to learn more about their dynamic. That seems to be very interesting. And how come JP doesn't know? Who is the baby mama is another question. So there's so many questions within that one scene because he genuinely looks like someone, and I don't know him, we don't all know him, but he looked like someone, if he found out that he had a son, he would want to be in that kid's life. He would want to stand by him, and even if he is doing something wrong, he would still say, my son, let's talk, let's do something. And that's when you would have, no, Dad, I won't talk to you. But instead, that didn't happen at all. He genuinely did not know who this boy was. And this boy knew who he was. So I loved how that went down. And then another thing really quickly is that we had, I don't know his name, Richard, I'm sure you would know because you're the name of names, but the guy who was Flynn's right-hand man, who we've seen from the previous episode was talking to Lilliana. He has a son, and his son is a drug addict. and he went and
Yep.
and
I think
I don't
I
know
think
his
I think I
name.
think I think it's Polly is his name. I'm not sure if that's the name, but
See,
that sounds close enough.
it's Paoli. So
Yeah.
we're gonna go with just Polly. So that was interesting there. I originally thought he would be a side character, in the sense of he's just always there. He's the right hand man, kind of what we saw Chef being in Power Book 2. Chef was just always there. He was the right hand man guy. He sounded really cool, but we just didn't really get into his story. But we really got into this guy's story with like he has a son who's on drugs, but we're gonna give the son some drugs because originally that scene threw me. I thought he was trying to test the product to be like, yeah, we're tired of your stuff. It's stale. There's this new pill we want to try. But that was not the case at all. It was like, here are some drugs for your drug addiction. Unless I was like, oh, okay. I guess it's like it's best that the drugs come from us because we know where it came from. As opposed you get something randomly off the street and that's a whole fentanyl thing that's going on. I don't know, but that was just a really good scene where it said a lot, but without saying much at all. So I want to learn more about his story, about his son is on drugs. I wonder if we're going to get that as well. So overall, what this show for me is doing is that sprinkling around a lot of details, and it's called, what was the name of the title? Something Storm. Storm is coming. And so, right?
Storm clouds.
Storm clouds. So the storm clouds are sitting outside and it's percolating and violating soon in the dancery. So this means that things are about to come into play. Everything, this was all set up pieces, and I expect for the next episode for things to come off. And then we have that whole deal with the Serbs and what's going on with them. I mean, grand opening, grand closing. I did not expect. Well, the way how she got off that helicopter. Didn't you feel like she was going to be a threat for the season? And I know it's not just her because she has a boss that now has to come in and take her place. But the way how she got off that helicopter, I was like, "Whoa, it's on now. This is gonna go down for the whole rest of the season." And no, it did not. So it was a very nice cameo that she had there. So just overall, I really liked what they was doing. I liked how they set up everything. Victor is still again trying to straddle a line between being a boy and being a man. He wants, everything that without having to change much, but he's afraid of change, but he wants to change. So he's still in that precipice of teenager. He's touching manhood, but all he has to do is cross over, but he's still kind of deciding on what to do. And then we have the whole Yardy situation. So overall, like I said again, this was very interesting. This is very good. I want to learn more about the non-stepfather, JP's father, who had him at 17. A lot of emotion going around there. What was Kate up to? That's another thing that I wonder if they're going to bring in. They have to bring in Kate in order to get her side of the story. I know that neither Tommy's probably at this point want to talk to her, but it would be really good to see her just kind of come in. So I like this. This was a good episode. It was short and simple, and still they're using Ghost without using Ghost.
Yeah, excellent takeaways there, and also a lot of knowledge about medications and things like that. I think they might hit you up next. Claudia might hit you up to work with her. But yeah, great takeaways. Excellent as always. We're definitely gonna dive deeper into some of that stuff a little later. But for now, we're gonna head over to Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. and see what his takeaways were for this episode. So hit us, Rich.
Okay. As always, excellent job with takeaways for Dana. I look forward to hearing yours next, Gary. So let me start by saying I also thought this was a good episode. It's a lot of things they did in the episode that I think work very well. And it's a lot of questions that you have about what's coming next. So let me start. I have 3 takeaways, but of course I have a couple of descriptions for each. So the first one I'm going to start with obviously is Tommy and Lilliana within this episode. The episode starts with the way the last episode ended, with Tommy still getting busy with Gloria. So, and then of course he says he needs something to drink. She gives him some water. Okay, that's cool. Later in this episode, he has a bit of a conversation with Vic, and Vic makes it known that he knows Tommy's messing around with his girl. But again, they decide to put their differences aside for the sake of business. And the way they end the episode with Tommy is that after, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens, which we'll get into. But at the very end of the episode, he finally gets his cup of coffee. Because you recall earlier in this episode, when they went to the diner that Diamond was at, he asked for a cup of coffee, and the two characters they introduced, very comical. Their reaction, like, what the hell are you talking about? We do a lot more than coffee here. So I thought that was great. But throughout this entire episode, Tommy, he did tell Lilliana that he wanted her to tell Claudia, which she did. And in the process of doing so, this is when she got snatched up by the Serbs. Now, I really, as Dana alluded to earlier, I really like that they kept Ghost a part of this episode with that text that Lilliana sent Tommy so that he knew, okay, something's up. She's in danger. And of course, he came late, but he did come and take care of business. And she also stabbed up the bigger guy as well. So that was a pretty brutal scene, but it was necessary. Prior to that, Tommy did have his conversation with JP and his dad, Herman. By the way, my name is Sherman. I am the brother to Herman. I haven't appeared on the show yet, but I'll probably be on there next week. We'll see what happens.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. So obviously, that's what he was doing prior. And I like the fact that they tried to basically try to show Tommy has a softer side, trying to get to know his family. So I appreciated that for sure. But to get back to the action, after they take out the Serbs, he does approach Diamond in this episode because he has a plan that he wants to get the entire pipeline that the Serbs have access to. And as Dana mentioned earlier, we're going to find out more about that because the head guy in charge, who is in charge of Tatiana, is who they're going to have to deal with now. Of course, at the end of the episode, Tommy, he meets up with the Serbs and he gets an assist from Vic, who Vic shoots two of the guys that were there. And then Tommy takes out Tatiana. So, yes, a very quick appearance for Tatiana. I must admit that when I first saw this character, I didn't really remember the character that well from Power. But it was a great little appearance. But again, it makes me wonder who her boss is, because that's the big bad, I think, that Tommy is going to have to deal with moving forward for the rest of the season. But we'll see how that goes. A few other things to mention now as we finish off Liliana's storyline. In this episode, she did spend some time with Gennard because the whole thing with CBI is that they were going to try to do a deal with the Yardis in this episode, and obviously that did not work out because they got tipped off that deal was going to happen. So what ends up happening as a result is, the deal didn't work out, and then Liliana gets captured shortly thereafter, and Tommy has to rescue her. So after that, he decides, well, let me just have CBI Gennard protect her while I talk to Diamond. And of course, at that point, Diamond tells Tommy that he cannot help him with the Serb problem. He didn't want anything to do with that, which is fine. But I want to see what's going to happen later when it comes back to that again. But the other thing is, Gennard basically is spending time with Liliana. We knows that, he owed her some money for a job. Eventually, she got her money. But he is very flirtatious relationship. I'm about 100% certain that they will be getting busy before the season is over, because they made it very obvious. Because in the previous episode, they show Liliana, has a lot less clothes on, and they're just letting getting you ready for that moment when it happens. But what's also interesting about that interaction is he is basically trying to get her to kill Tommy, which I think is very interesting. We already know that this character does not like Tommy. He's very jealous that Diamond has been working with Tommy and putting a lot of ideas in his head about how to run his business. So I'm very curious to see what happens moving forward with that, and whether or not he will win her over and convince her maybe you shouldn't trust Tommy. We'll see what happens. But I doubt that's going to happen because, again, everybody is in this for the business aspect. One thing I do want to mention very quickly about what Dana mentioned earlier with JP and his son. The actor that plays JP Gibbs, he looked really crazy in that scene where his son showed up like he was about to really knock his head off with that bat. So I got to give him credit for that because I laughed when I saw his expression on his face, the energy. Yeah, he looked like he really was going to hurt this kid. And the thing is that I don't know if I felt this, if I was the only one that felt this. It looks to me like I could have seen some type of a resemblance between him and the kid. That's why I don't understand why he doesn't think, oh, this kid is not mine. He just doesn't know. So I look forward to seeing what his reaction is going to be when he actually finds out that that is his son. So that was very good. So I spoke about CBI a little bit. I spoke about Tommy and Lilliana. This is my final takeaway here, and this is about the Flynn family. Because as Dana mentioned, this episode is here. It appears as though Victor finally decided to try to step up to his father, Walter. And I also like the fact that Tommy also stood up to Walter and was basically saying, hey, you need to let your son do more. Let him do what he's doing. So I'll be curious to see how Walter responds now, because he found out that the Yardy deal didn't work out, questioned his son's thinking, and his son pushed back. So I thought that was great. That was a great dialogue between them two. The whole thing where he says, so you're saying that if I was to go away with Gloria, that I wouldn't be a man, but if I stay with you, then I'm just going to be a boy. That was a great line. Great, direct and right to the point. So let's see what happens from here. One thing I also will say, as far as Claudia in this episode, it made me feel as though they wanted you to feel intimidated by her because, now she has these glasses on all of a sudden. She acts as though she is in charge of this entire operation with her girlfriend, with the chemist and stuff like that. So I can see that they're trying to show that this family is intimidating and is a threat. I really don't feel that, honestly. Whoever this Serb guy is that's in charge, I think that's the threat. And I think there could be other threats that we don't know about that we're going to find out about as the season continues. But again, I will give them credit for the fact that they made Vic try to be a little bit more, active in fighting against his father in this episode, trying to fight for Gloria, although he still isn't doing enough to really capture Gloria. But it makes me curious to see what's going to happen. And then the other thing is that we didn't really talk about Seamus, the cop that was trailing, that obviously has been watching CBI and has been watching Vic, because he had a conversation with him in this episode, and Vic made a threat to him about his sister, I believe. So there's a lot of stuff here to work with. Vic pretty much is showing you that the character, he showed you some signs of life as far as being a lot more strong-willed. He still has a long way to go, because until he actually does something and is successful in it, you still have to question whether or not he's a strong character. But again, I like the progression with the character this week, and I pretty much liked everything that happened in the episode. Yes, it was shorter, but still, great episode. Says up a lot of things. I look forward to seeing what happens next week.
Yeah, excellent takeaways. Like you said something about a threat, like there needs to be like a threat or something. I actually have a question about that later, so we're definitely going to dive deeper on that one, because I like that. I like that you brought that up. I know you actually mentioned that to me as well, when we had a discussion about the show before. So yeah, we got to talk about that a little later. But great takeaways there. So I'll just go ahead and get to my takeaways. I don't have too many. Overall it was a good episode. But I feel like we're still heating up a little bit with this season. Like, stuff is still kind of just building up a little bit. So I'm just going to touch on a few things here that stood out to me, and then once we get to our questions, we can expand on more topics also. But first of all, I love that they brought back Tatiana. I actually did remember the character, but I actually thought she already died already. Like, I thought they killed her already, but I guess Ghost might have let her live or something, if I'm not mistaken. but I know that she was around, and like there was a few tense situations between her and Ghost and Tommy. And I think it was around the time that Jason came to New York and stuff. Like she was around then. But yeah, it was cool to see them bring back yet another character. But it sucks that she died so quick. Like, you know, because I would have liked to have seen her stick around and you know, continue to terrorize Tommy for a little while. You know, that would be like another threat, as Rich was talking about. But you know, they got her out there pretty quick. And I'm sure, you know, that there's probably going to be some retaliation or some consequences to that later. But what was interesting in that scene also is that Vic helped, you know, Tommy in that situation there when, you know, Tommy actually asked Diamond for his help, and Diamond didn't want any parts of that Serb stuff, but Vic was willing to have his back despite the fact that, you know, he's sleeping with his girl and everything. So that's quite interesting that, you know, Vic is so open to working with Tommy. And I'm wondering if that is going to change later, you know, because he seems to really respect Tommy by the way it's looking at the moment. But yeah, that was interesting. So yeah, I do like that they're bringing back some of these elements though, like the Serbs. I do feel like they could bring back more gangs because it's set in Chicago. It seems like this is a very gang orientated story. You have the CBI, you have the Flynns, you know, you have Yardies, and we haven't met the boss yet, but I think they're building up to that. I think soon we're gonna see like who actually runs the Yardies, and I'm excited for that, you know, as a Jamaican. And yeah, so I think there's room for them to bring back some other gangs that we've seen before, you know, like the Jimenez maybe, and yeah, some other factions that we've kind of seen in New York and stuff like that, because I know that like historically there are a lot of ties between, you know, Chicago and New York, specifically with the mob, like, but there's also connections with like, you know, certain gangs even today. Like there's some connections with Chicago gangs and New York gangs now, especially through the drill music and everything. But yeah, so I want to see how far they go with that gang theme and see what kind of new threats and new people pop up, like, or you know, new people from the old power or whatever, like returning characters, because there's a lot they could do with that. So but yeah, cool to see Tatiana again. So yeah, you mentioned Lilliana flirting with Jannard. I think both of you mentioned it. That was very interesting to see, because you know, as soon as like, you know, Tommy said, "Oh, I need somewhere to keep her," you know, I knew something weird was going to happen. Like something, I knew Jannard was probably going to show up and be like, "Yo, who's this?" Like, you know, and that kind of happened. But then we see the two characters interacting, and they had great on-screen chemistry. You know, obviously Jannard was showing a lot of interest in her, and then they had the whole thing with the scar, and he wanted to touch the scar and stuff. So I like how they played into that. And yeah, I think Jannard is really into her, but I'm thinking, you know, Lilliana is very cold, and to a degree she's calculating. So I think at some point she might use him. She might try to mislead him. Like she might come on to him and make him think that, you know, she's really into him. But I think there's a possibility she might use him for something else. And what that is, I'm not sure yet. But I think that could be something that happens between those characters. And like Richard said, it is interesting that Jannard brought up, you know, wanting to kill Tommy and that he'd pay her to do it. And I'm wondering if she is going to share this information with Tommy, if she's going to tell him that, you know, Jannard wants him dead, or that he asked her to kill him, basically. So that would be interesting. Like, because, you know, if she doesn't tell him that, then maybe she has other ideas for Jannard. I don't know. Like maybe she's got something else in mind. But if she does tell Tommy, then that shows her loyalty is kind of with Tommy. So yeah, I want to see where that goes next. And yeah, Dana brought up Dahlia, the the chemist that is working with Claudia, or well, they offered her a job. And I like that they showed that kind of manipulative side of Claudia a little bit, because it is starting to validate the fact that she could really take over the Flynn's, like, because she's showing a lot of, like, a lot of dominance, I guess. Like, she's being very forward, very calculating. She's thinking ahead, and yeah, she's really making moves. Unlike Vic, like Vic is acting like a follower right now. Like, he's behind Tommy, helping him out, even though he's sleeping with his girl. Meanwhile, Claudia is out making moves and setting things up, for the future. So it's like, I think she could really be the one to take over the Flynn family if Walt does pass away. And she's showing that at the moment. And like Dana said, I don't trust the May character either, the Mai character, whatever her name is. Like, I don't trust her either. I think she's definitely hiding secrets. I definitely think there's still someone else in the mix that we don't know about that's connected to these drugs and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see, Claudia kind of coming into her own a little bit, and being that strong female kind of character, that representation in this show. And I want to see how far they push that, and I want to, like, is Dahlia going to be a regular character as well? Like, I'm wondering, like, if we're going to see that again, because they brought up the whole thing about her, this was like a medication she was testing out, like a diet pill. And, she, like, obviously Claudia, she threatened to expose all that stuff. So I want to know if there's going to be more on that specifically. And, if we're actually going to see this Dahlia character, and if she might interact with some of the other characters, like maybe Tommy or Lilliana or something finds out about her or whatever, like, that could be interesting. So, yeah, those are the main things that stood out to me. Oh, and also the DMAC and JP moment. I'm now just wondering, what is going to be the turning point here. Is DMAC going to reach out to JP and strike a conversation, or does JP find out in another way, like that that is actually his son? Like, I'm just wondering what the turning point will be. Go ahead, Rich.
I don't want to interrupt you. I just thought about this because I didn't mention this in the takeaway. Mm-hmm. There's a very important thing about DMAC that I wanted to make sure I put out there. In this episode, Jannard tells him, I want you to gather soldiers for me.
Oh, yeah.
So the DMAC character is about to obviously get a lot more involved in what's happening. And I'm curious to see how that's going to also impact his relationship with his father.
Yeah. Yeah, because it seems like he has like a key role now. Like Jannard has kind of instructed him to do something. So we're definitely going to see more of that. He's going to be recruiting people, essentially, it seems like. So we get to kind of see how that plays out. And that's one of the things I really was looking forward to seeing, because that gang culture is strong in Chicago, and there's a lot of youth that's caught up in it. Like, if you pay attention to the Chicago drill scene, I've been kind of paying attention to that since Chief Keef came out and stuff. And like, there's a lot of young children mixed up in that gang life, and they ride around killing each other all the time. So I really want them to use the DMAC character to kind of highlight some of that a little bit and show the dangers that lifestyle has on the younger children and stuff. And I think DMAC is a great character to show that, in some way. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that. But yeah, that was my takeaways for this episode. And before we get to our questions and discussions, just a quick reminder, if you're liking what you hear, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts, your theories, about this episode. And then also please like the video and also consider subscribing to the channel, if you like the content. And yeah, so let's get right into our questions and discussions. So before I switch gears here, I want to see if Dana wants to chime in on what we were just talking about DMAC, because that was actually a question I had. We kind of just talked about it already, but you can give your view on that too. So the question is actually, do you think DMAC is going to make contact with JP first? And then also let us know if you have any other thoughts about the DMAC character.
Here's a weird thing, because he literally did look at him like, "Who are you?" And DMAC, you could see so much hurt and pain in his eyeballs. It seems to me that maybe PJ, this is why I call him Black Tommy. JP is going to be the one who, maybe if he sees him again, is going to want to have that conversation with him, like, "Hey, what's going on? Why are you acting this way?" Because he did have that. He asked him straight up, "Why you keep doing this?" And he never really answered him. My thing is that I really wonder how JP is going to take it. And he does seem, again, like someone who's going to be that influential guy, like, "Come and talk to me. You don't have to do this. I'm your father. I really didn't know I was your father," and want to have a conversation with him. I wonder if, what's his name, DMAC, D-Boy McDonald's, is really going to sit down and allow himself to open up to him, because all you have is just this hurt and this pain. Remember, he wanted to burn down the place, not even steal anything out of it, just burn it down completely. That's hate. So I wonder if he's going to open himself up to him when Black Tommy does eventually meet him again. And it's not my hope is that it does not end up going, so kumbaya. I wonder how this will affect what's going on with Diamond's brother and with Ed, that whole operation and situation, because we did say that he's going to be called up to be one of the soldiers, because remember he said, "And I need someone who can think," and the kid can think. He's just really angry, but he can think. And I just wonder how this is going to end up impacting everything, because so far what we do know is that Tommy has not invited him into what's really going on in his life and really why he's here in Chicago. But it just seems that the way how the writing is going, those two worlds will possibly end up crossing. And I want to know if this is the kid that's going to cause them to cross. So I think that I hope it happens soon. I just really want to know how the boy is going to take it all in. Will he not believe what JP has to say? Will he be someone who's understanding? Will this create more ripples? Again, I don't know who the baby mama is. That is the big question. Did she already die? Maybe she died and he was a kid of the system. And then he found out that was his family, that was his father. And then, I'm going to burn down the place every time. I'm going to shoot it up every time. I think he really wants to kill him, but not kill him directly. So this is just, I like where they're going with this. It's something unexpected. I did not see this coming at all. Even when we met Black Tommy and the first episode, I just didn't see this whole thing of family. This is like a huge family piece of the puzzles. It's all just coming in together. I didn't see it, but either way, I'm looking forward to how it plays out.
Okay, and so Rich, do you actually think that DMAC might reach out to his father, or do you think in some way JP will reach out to him first and see, maybe ask him a question like, why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep messing up my store or whatever? And that might lead to a conversation.
Well, before I answer that question, let me just say this. Dana made the comment that we don't know if the baby mama is dead. Well, I'm pretty sure, whenever the baby mama thinks about JP, she wishes he was dead, because she made sure to make it clear that, you're not going to see the kid, all this other stuff. And I don't know how that all went down, but this is what I would like to hope to see is I would love to see a reconciliation between the both of them, because in the history of power, they have made it a point to always have the fathers and the sons Either, the sons killed the father, so on and so forth, or the father killed the son. Kanan killed Sean, Tommy killed his father, and then Tariq kills Ghost. So I would love to see, for a change, that these two actually have some reconciliation, moving forward. And can D-Mac reach out to him? Yes. And the thing is, D-Mac knows that's his father, so he should reach out to him, because JP does not know that that's his kid. Tommy doesn't even know that this kid is related to either, because he has had very minimal contact with them. The only time he saw them was when they held him up when he was at the barbershop that time. They haven't shown them interact at all ever since then. So I kind of feel like D-Mac knows this information. He needs to try to reach out and say something to him, but we will see how that actually goes down. The other thing is that his friend, as I alluded to on this podcast before, that actor, he plays a kid on The Chi, the same kid that killed Ronnie. I believe it was the previous season. So what I know about that character is he's a loose cannon, and it's pretty much essentially almost the same character in terms of his behavior. So I could see him being the one that, because you saw when he had his interaction with D-Mac, when he was saying, yeah, we need to go in there and rob him, and he was ready to shoot JP. He said no. He stopped him from doing that. I don't know if he's going to see that as weakness and tell Jannard, hey, listen, I don't really know if this kid should be running anything, but you know what? I can run things instead. So I would watch out for the friend for sure, because I know that kid, as an actor, he has the ability to be a loose cannon, because he's done that already on The Chi. So we'll see if that's the direction they go. But I do agree that D-Mac as a character, he's definitely going to bring things together as far as Tommy, as far as his father. The question is about, as you said, Gary, is he going to reach out, or should JP reach out? I think he needs to reach out to JP, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, all I know is I don't want to see JP getting killed by him. I don't want to see that again. We've seen that enough on Power, so hopefully there is some type of reconciliation in their future.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, and like I can even imagine, like, because what the ideas you guys said were great, and like I definitely think there's going to be another situation outside of JP's shop, and I'm thinking maybe he rushes out with the baseball bat again, and he looks as angry as he looked in this episode, and maybe he just starts whooping on D-Mac or something. And then, maybe his friend pulls up with the gun and aims it, and he's about to shoot. And D-Mac is like, no, don't do it. And his friend is like, why not? He's hitting you. And he's like, because it's my dad. Maybe something like that happens.
They tried to shoot him and burn him alive. You think that's gonna? No, don't shoot my dad. But then again, only I can do it. I'm in.
Well, one thing we know is that it is going to be a very over-the-top dramatics when this is finally revealed. I just want to know how they're going to reveal it. If it's a scene like that, Gary, that'd be very dramatic. Might be a little corny, though, for him to just outright say that to his friend.
Yeah.
But
done right.
It got to be done right if they're going to be that dramatic about it. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like
the other thing is that Dana says that we have to have the innocent getting killed, so that could happen too. But I don't know. I have no idea who that's going to be for right now. If it's JP, that'll be well. Nobody would be expecting that, but we'll see.
I'm expecting that. I'm the one who said he has to die in the first episode. Oh, he's the brother. He has no connections. He's dead.
Then that means that my brother Herman will really hate Tommy then. He will really hate Tommy then. You killed my son. You got my son killed.
What other way? I mean, you have Tommy reconnecting with his family and all these happy shared moments. You have to kill JP. They set it up too nicely. They're pulling at the emotional strings.
Yeah, and that's the only reason why Tommy is staying in Chicago, to help his brother out. Yeah, he says, oh, I'm to build up my own empire, but you're giving your brother a lot of money too. So that's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Or so maybe he dies when Tommy's ready to leave. Like, when Ghost comes back and he's in New York again. Maybe like JP dies and he's like, all right, time to go back to New York.
Mm-hmm. It could be. But you heard what he said, Gary, in this episode. New York is over. This is my time. This is my time.
Why did you sound like an old British lord when you say, my time is over?
Hey, I like Joseph. I like Joseph Sikora as an actor, but that line is the way he delivered that. I laugh a little bit. I like it.
How he delivered the line. I thought he was good.
Yeah, that was funny. Speaking of Ghost, I like how they incorporated him in this. How they teased him. I'm sure Dana said that earlier too, but just the little code that Tommy had with Lilliana or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was smart. Bring Ghost, bring death.
And even when Tommy did the shooting, that's something you know Ghost would do. With the gloves on, pull out the gun and blow the guy's head off. So yeah, they did a very good job of that. It happened so quick. It's who is Ghost? Bam, dead.
That's what took me out. What took me out was the fact, not of how he went out, but the fact he said, who is Ghost? I thought he was going to be like, oh, no, it's Ghost, because not everyone knows Ghost is dead. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was going to be like, oh, no, Ghost is coming.
And yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, because I knew that it meant, like, bring death, because we all know Ghost is dead. But for them, I was like, oh, I was, like, really excited for them to find out because it's dead. But they just died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'd think they would know who Ghost is, like, or know his reputation, but yeah.
I mean, they did have dealings with the Serbs. They made a whole point to state that.
Well, but this is the Chicago Serbs, right?
Yeah, so not everybody knows.
Yeah, there's some differences, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess news doesn't travel that far in this universe, but.
But you know what that does confirm for me is the only one that cared about Jason was Tatiana, not none of them other people. Like, who the hell Jason? Jason gets killed and nobody does anything. Yeah, see, so that's why I say she's the only one that cared about Jason.
Yeah.
I mean, you would kind of remember the person who's responsible for scarring your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why she's all like, "Oh, Ghost." Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get to the Serbs then. So I had a question about them specifically. So do you guys think that there is going to be a comeback now from the Serbs, like full force? And if that does happen, like, are they pretty much going to be like a big part of the show now, do you think? Or is it going to be like, they retaliate and then, Tommy retaliates and then they end up in his car and he blows it up again or whatever? Like, what do you think is going to happen there? So I'll go to you first, Rich, because you unmuted. So what's your thoughts on that?
So let me just say this. I love Tommy Egan as a character. I'm enjoying Force. I know I was very critical of the second episode, but one thing that we need to see on this show, you need to have a formidable opponent for Tommy to face. And I feel as though the character, everyone loves Tommy. Yes, this is his time to shine. He's getting all the power and stuff like that, pun intended. But at some point, there has to be some type of weakness or some type of setback that he has. Obviously, the whole thing with trying to set up the whole agreement between the CBI and the Flynns, that was, yes, that's a roadblock, and that didn't work out. Okay, we get that. But yet, in this episode, again, you introduce Tatiana as a character, and she is immediately killed, which is fine. But I would say, if you're going to kill off a character that some people actually do know from Power, this big bad guy, whoever this person is in charge of the Serbs, this has got to be a major player, a major threat that they have to deal with. And I don't think it needs to be a very easy thing where, we know that so far we only have one season of Force. Now we have to rush to a conclusion of him killing the person by the end of the season. I don't believe I don't know if that would be something, unless it's done in a good way and it's satisfying. But I want to see Tommy meet his match, so to speak. have somebody who is a legitimate threat, because I don't consider the Flynns a threat. As I said earlier, I know Claudia was intimidating with the glasses. I think that's why they had her have those glasses on in this episode, to look as though she is in power and she can, turn the tables on somebody, which is fine. But I don't think the Flynn family is a threat whatsoever. CBI and Jannard and all the stuff that he says about, I am in charge and I will do whatever I can to stay in charge and take it back from Diamond, I don't think he's a threat either. So you have to establish who is the threat. It was an interesting thing about this idea that Lilliana could be paid to kill Tommy, but that's not going to happen because they're in business together and everybody's going to work with each other as long as they can make money. There's no reason for them to go after each other. But you have to establish some type of villain, a good villain, because even on the regular Power, all the people they had to deal with, Lobos, Milan, etc., those were some good villains. So I would hope that whoever this person is that is in charge of the Serbs, he is a formidable opponent for Tommy Egan and is not someone that can just be killed in one shot. You introduce the character at the beginning of the episode, by the end of the episode, he's already dead. I don't want to see that. It needs to be a formidable villain. So that's my only thing that I want to see. And again, I understand for those that are going to say, come on, guys, this is a TV show. I agree. We will suspend disbelief. It is a TV show. But one thing that makes a good story is a good villain. So I definitely hope that eventually we're going to get that as the season continues. But so far, I'm enjoying the show for sure. And I enjoy that they make Tommy look like a badass. He looks unstoppable, but at some point he has to have a weakness. And I'm curious to see what that is. Besides it being JP getting killed, potentially, we need to see something else on top of that.
Gloria, they gotta kill Gloria, and then Vic is gonna get upset, and they're gonna work together.
Oh, she's got a jingle and everything.
I mean, if you asking my opinion about this,
yeah, let's get your
sure. Let's name talk. My thing is this. Everything that Richard said is 1,000% true. Storyline wise, everything. We don't want a villain of the week. That's cute. That's nice. But at the end of the day, you need that final boss battle, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe, as we saw, the Serbs are someone you don't mess with. That whole Tatiana situation was like a way to distract you, in a sense of you thinking, here's something, the big, great, bad something, and then he's dead. And that's to bring in someone who's greater and more powerful, who will probably, I hope, will last more than just one season. Again, I don't know who this person is. I don't know who their king leader is, but this looks like it could be something that's good. The episode itself is titled "Storm is Coming," right?
The storm clouds.
The storm clouds are coming, and then what happens when the clouds come? It got to rain. It got to storm. And at the very end of this episode, Tommy stated, Lilliana stated, "Storm's coming," and Tommy responded, "It's already here."
Mm-hmm.
So I believe Tatiana, her death is always going to trigger something. It already been triggered, and she just happened to be there first. That person who's that big bad person who's coming in is already there. They're waiting to see what happened with Tatiana. They're not waiting to come in and flying in and getting off their beach and everything else. They're already there. Mm-hmm. So everything up until this point right now has just been everyone's just lying in wait. What's to come next is when everyone starts moving forward. Whether it's the Serbs, Diamond and his little teenage friends, everyone else, that's when they're going to start make the move. With the Serb situation, I hope that this is something where the whole season so far has been, we have to join forces. Remember, Doc, we got to join forces. We have to come together. The other way is not working anymore. We have to come together. And Dad's like, no, son, it's always been this way. That's because he didn't have a storm. He didn't have the storm of the Serbs. And so this time, them not knowing we are joining forces, we think we're going to just join forces for this one little drug thing over here. They end up having to form this connection in order to get rid of the Serbs. And it's coming to attack. Mm-hmm. I believe. I could just be, out of it. And I believe that by them joining forces, it's something that's much larger that you're going to have to start teaming with now. I don't think the Serbs give a fart if you belong to this territory and that person over there, he's orange, so we don't touch him. That guy's black, but the black only touches the white. But that one is a little off-white, so we can't touch him because he's not enough white as that guy over there. They don't care. Mm-hmm. I believe if they're coming in to swoop in for some territory, they don't give a fart about Yardies and Scotland and Ireland and England and Gary and UK and everything else. They're going to just come and decimate and get what it is that they need of all their territories, all the good drug situation, and make their connections. So I think that the Serbs are going to be here, I hope, for a while. I hope that this ends up being this big thing where they're going to have to find themselves joining forces with. I don't know what's going to happen with Da. That's the thing I wonder about. Where is Da in all of this? Will he be like, well, son, I guess I have to team up with them Negroes after all? And then, once they start coming in and start rolling in on his property, I don't know.
So let me make a quick comment first, and then I'm going to respond to that. I just want to let everybody know, we do record these episodes early, so some of this stuff could have gotten answered in the preview clip for the next episode, but we didn't see that because we don't have access to that.
It's Friday.
So, yeah. So let me just respond to that really quickly. I do agree 100% what you said about them coming together, and I think that if certain things were to happen, that will accelerate the process. Now, Vic inserted himself into this by virtue of shooting those people. Obviously, Lilliana is in it because they took her photo. And even though you saw that Tatiana saw the photo, other people could have seen that photo as well. So I think she's still a target. Now, here's where the interesting ripple is. If Lilliana is killed, and before that, she forms a deeper relationship with Jannard, maybe now, all of a sudden, Jannard will be like, hey, wait a second. Maybe I do need to work with Tommy because they killed my girl. Now I want to take them out. So that's a possibility, I guess.
You're missing one key thing.
What's that?
What is the word of the whole darn thing when it comes to relationships? It's just business.
Yeah.
Business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tommy walked away from Gloria, not because, oh my God, I love her so much, but I know she's better off in the arms of Victor. Because it's business. Mm-hmm. No one really cares about, random people who you may invite into your kitchen. No one really cares about that. What's about this whole thing is about making money and making sure you have your business together. Mm-hmm. So I don't really see this great deep connection between Lilliana and Jannard or Gerard or whatever his name is. I see this as like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And so
it's definitely that. It's definitely that.
So I don't think that he cares. He's like, oh my God, I can't do this because of her.
Well, no. I think I agree. It's not that, but what I'm saying is, if something happens to her, the character gets killed, I kind of think he might want to get some retaliation. But again, it depends if their relationship deepens in the next couple episodes.
It'll deepen in a different way.
That's going to happen. That's going to happen. This is a power. They make sure they have a lot of sex, all types of stuff.
Someone else. I'm tired of Tommy. Tommy is like, oh my God, every episode is sign. Point is, distracted. Sorry.
Distracted by.
Sorry. I just don't see this whole thing, them forming, like them caring about Lilliana. Lilliana happened to be just a really great convenience because she was there in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And we're learning more about Lilliana, and I think that she uses her power of seduction to seduce whatever she has to seduce for her moment, and then you just go on about your day.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have no feelings.
Well, Tommy is definitely the main target here, as he alluded to. He said that to Tatiana before he killed her. So I'm pretty sure her boss, when her boss realizes that she is no longer here, he's going to go right after Tommy. But if she also showed him that picture of Lilliana, I mean, whoever is with Tommy is in trouble. So, Tommy, he need to watch his back.
This is why I'm concerned about Black Tommy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't care about anyone else. Black Tommy's what I'm concerned about.
Well, Tommy is doing a good job of keeping his distance and trying not to tell him what he really does. But at some point, that's not going to work.
Here's the thing. That's little boy who's running around. I'm so angry. Why don't we burn you up in the shop? It's him. once people find out he's related to JP and they find out the connection to JP and Tommy, that's what is the issue.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Well, go ahead, Gary. You about to say something?
Oh yeah, no, I think all these theories, you guys mentioned are great. Like especially Dana, when you were saying like the Serbs won't care, which gang is which and all that stuff. And Rich, about the Lilliana thing. Well, I have a question about that in a sec, so I'll leave that. But that's a great theory though, what you said. But just to kind of wrap this up and add my thoughts on this whole on the Serb thing and the incoming threats that could be coming up. So we see that Tommy has basically he's been trying to unify the different territories in Chicago. That's what he's been kind of working towards. He's been, wanting to work with the Flynn family and the CBI and the Yardies. He's trying to get everyone to come together so that he can be like the main distro or whatever, and spread products throughout all of Chicago, kind of like what him and Ghost did in New York. So that's great. That's a great move to make. But there's a vulnerability in that because then somebody, an organization like the Serbs can come along and, they can either try and kill Tommy or they can try and, do what Milan did and force him into some sort of agreement. And, if the Serbs decide to do that, automatically they have the entire Chicago as their distribution, to distribute their product. So it makes you a target when you're in that position because you've done the work to unify all the gangs so that all of this product can be sold with no beefing, no wars or nothing like that. That makes Tommy dangerous because all it takes is for, someone like the Serbs or Jimenez or whoever it is to come along and try to take out Tommy. And then, they can take over that whole thing and just sell their product and profit from that. So yeah, I think the moves that Tommy's been making so far is going to put him in a very dangerous position to where, somebody is going to try and take his head off or take what he has, with all these connections. So yeah, I definitely think we're going to see that final boss come into play at some point, who's going to really challenge Tommy and put pressure on him. And by the way they've set it up in this episode, it could be the Serbs. But go ahead, Rich. You had something to say.
This is my last question, and then we can go on to the next topic.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and this is for Dana. So if Tommy, obviously Tommy is he ended the stuff with Gloria. What if Gloria gets in the crosshairs and she gets killed by one of these Serbs? Do you think now that's going to create tension between him and Vic? Because we know Vic actually cares about Gloria.
I'm cool with her dying, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said you said you don't want her to die. Well, we know Gary. We know Gary don't want her to die. So
Gary doesn't want her to die. I'm cool with her dying. I haven't formed an attachment. Sorry. I'm more concerned. I'm Team JP. Like if you kill JP, I'm going to war with you.
Yeah.
My thing is this. Yes, Victor will throw a fit. Or Walter will be very happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he'll throw the funeral. He'll be like, yes, she's gone. I got my son back. But my thing is that Victor does care. Here's the thing. I always believe in my heart that Victor cares deeply for Gloria. The thing is just he's still a man boy and can't release himself from the clutches of his dad.
Yep.
So I think Victor will be very upset about this and will want to go to war. And I feel that him and Tommy will end up I don't feel that it's going to be a clash. Because in a weird way, Tommy, yes, he likes her, but it's not like, oh my gosh, that's my deepest, closest love of all time. It's what happens in life. And he has buried so many people that were considered innocents. Remember what happened with Lakeisha, even though Lakeisha kind of was like, yeah, she died. But Lakeisha, I believe Tommy was also close with Sean. Maybe. Can't remember. I'm old. No. But the fact is, he lost people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He lost Tommy. Not Tommy lost Tommy. Tommy lost Ghost. And I think that it'll be unfortunate. It'll be sad. There were moments, remember, we saw in the very first kind of scene, maybe first-ish, during the first episode, where he was doing that flashback and looking back at Lakeisha and all the people he lost in his life, and he was really sad at that thing. I think loss is something that he has to just get used to, and that he adjusts kind of okay-ish with. So I don't. It's a very unfortunate situation, but I think that he will be able to get over it. But what will be more interesting is, remembers Tommy's reaction to Proctor? And we remember how he shot up that entire penthouse? I do believe that we can give, if Gloria does die, we could get a glimpse of that version of Tommy. Tommy in this show is trying to show restraint a lot of times. And I wonder if we're going to get the old Tommy back, who was just reckless with his kill streak. I just don't know if Gloria is the one that's going to initiate that. That he will have problems between him and Victor. Victor will take it the hardest, but if it's to get back at someone, I see them teaming up to get back at the person who would kill Gloria.
Yeah, I agree. And the last point that I will add is that reckless side of Tommy, yes, that will come out if JP is the one that gets killed, as you said. JP. Because that would make sense then, because that's the only character he is actually closest to in the show right now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Like Tommy.
Yeah, great points. I definitely agree. You know, if JP is hurt, Tommy's going into rage mode for sure. Gloria, you know, I don't think they're in love yet or anything like that, you know, but I guess he just, you know, feels comfort in being.
He likes her.
So, yeah.
You know.
And the Vic thing makes it awkward. I definitely think Vic would be more hurt if you know, she was taken out. But yeah, great thoughts there. You know, definitely chime in the comments, everyone listening. I want to hear more theories about that. You know, the Serbs and the final boss. You know, who's going to show up and all that sort of stuff. So definitely let us know. But just one more comment here. So, you know, we've kind of spoke about Lilliana a lot already. You know, obviously there was the big scenes with Jannard in this episode, and the flirting and the chemistry and all that stuff. You know, and yeah, so, and then she got kidnapped and all that stuff as well. You know, which was interesting. But I want the question I want to ask is, you know, because I spoke earlier about, you know, she might not, she might like Jannard a little bit, but she might try to play him or use him in some way. But you know, there was that part where Jannard offered to pay her to kill Tommy. So I want to ask you guys this question actually. So do you think Lilliana could possibly betray Tommy? Like, do you see that as a possibility at all in this season? Like, is she going to betray him? Or could it even be a possibility that she betrays him? Or do you think she's already too loyal to him? So let us know what you think of that specifically. So I'm going to go to you first, Dana, because you're already unmuted. So
here's the thing, you guys. I don't think she cares like that about, you know, Jannard Bernard or whatever his name is at all. They're flirty-ish, but that's it. I don't think anyone in the show right now, especially Lilliana, she has no reasons to be loyal to anyone. She is in a situation where she didn't want to die, which is why she teamed up with Tommy. That's literally the only reason why. Like, let's make money and I won't kill you. And so far, that seems to work. She's making money and she's not dead yet. They have kind of a working relationship. I don't see her, there's no reason for her to be loyal to anyone at this moment. They both just want something from each other. The whole situation with Tommy coming to rescue Lilliana, that's just because of all business. It's not because, oh my God, I deeply care about this person. You know, let me make sure she doesn't die. So I don't see her doing that. I don't see any kind of loyalty to anyone. Do I see her betraying Tommy? Sure, why not? Because at the end of the day, her and Tommy are slightly the reason why her face looks the way she does. It's just slashed all up. Um, so yeah, why would I be loyal to the dude who slashed my face? And I believe that was one of the questions that was kind of asked. In general, there's no reason to for them to be loyal aside from money and just money. So no one owes anything to anyone, which kind of can make it even more best if people just start crossing each other. The only question you have to ask is who's going to cross whom first. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. She, her face got sliced up because of what Ghost and Tommy, did. So, that is a good point. But what do you think about that, Rich? Do you think there is potential for Lilliana to backstab Tommy, or is she already loyal to him? Like, let us know what you think.
I think there's always potential for that to happen. Tommy should not trust most of the people on this show. Tommy shouldn't trust. They had the whole interaction he had with Vic in this episode, and they had that funny dialogue about, oh, so are you going to turn your back on me, vice versa? But in all due respect, Tommy should definitely be careful. With the Liliana situation, is a little bit different. Yes, they have history together, and yes, if they can make money together, then they will work together to make money. But at the end of the day, when these threats, as this thing with the Serbs gets, intensifies further, and again, we already know that they took a picture of her. There's a picture of her that's out there. I'm pretty sure Tatiana isn't the only one that saw that picture. So I just kind of feel like she's still a target. But the question again is, how much does the guy in charge know about Tommy? Because he could make an offer to her to take out Tommy also in exchange for her life. That's why I say I would not rule out the possibility that she could turn on Tommy still. It really depends. And again, yes, that's business. Because if you don't want to get killed, and all I have to do in exchange is kill this other person, well, yeah, I'm totally fine with doing that. That's why I said, don't trust. But we'll see what happens, because I kind of think they want you to think as a viewer it can go in any different direction. But for now, it appears as though she is loyal because, yeah, Tommy did save her. So it looks as though right now, yes, she is loyal to Tommy. Can that change under extreme circumstances? Absolutely, yes, it can. But we'll see if that's what they're actually going to do.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. Like, I think it can go in the direction of her backstabbing him. Like, they could easily have some sort of disagreement or fallout, over the stuff that Tommy is doing, and also, with Jannard, we know that he actively wants to be, the boss of CBI. Like, he wants to take that position from his brother. So another possibility of something that could happen is, maybe there's some sort of breakaway factions in the CBI or something like that. And maybe maybe Liliana ends up going with Jannard and joining his team, or something like that. If those two characters do get close. So there's that as a possibility also, but who knows? But Dana, what's up? You wanted to say something?
Stop putting people together, not gonna form relationships. This is business.
I know, but we can't ignore the fact that they flirted, though.
You flirt with so what? It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I'm just going off of what they showed us. They did that for a reason. So
they did that for a reason, to show that she can be in charge and use him, and she's smarter than him.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think if that
that's his weakness. He was never able to. They didn't sleep together, right? Remember, she said, "Oh, they had that whole banter. They never ended up sleeping together."
Yeah.
So yeah. She's the one that got away, not in the sense of, "Oh my God, I love you," but he didn't even bang yet. He would have banged everybody, but he didn't bang her, and she's using that against him, be like and teasing him, and that's all. Nothing serious. Nope.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I definitely think there's potential for her to be using him also. But I'm just saying if there's a fallout between Tommy and Lilliana and Jannard and Diamond, maybe they end up working together. But maybe she's actually in charge. Like maybe she's
working together. That's all. Just working together. Nothing else together.
Well, hey, I'm just going for what the writers did. That's all. They teased.
Yeah, I feel a lot of things, but I still have faith. All right, I have faith.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. This is all speculation, but I definitely want the people to chime in with their thoughts also on that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the questions this week. We're still in the building process in this season. They're still setting the stage. That we're learning these characters and this universe and everything. So it's building up. New stuff is happening every week. So it's not as in depth as Ghost is, like book 2 Ghost at the moment. But yeah, we're getting there. But I definitely want to ask you guys before we head out, if there's anything else you guys wanted to bring up or any other thoughts. And go ahead, Dana, you're already waving your finger there. So go ahead.
One of the things that was really interesting that was said by Victor was that he was tired of waiting his turn. The whole conversation that he had with his father. And he stated, he's tired of waiting his turn, and that everyone, he's tired of also waiting for his father to give him the okay for things. I wonder if his eagerness to kind of step out of his father's shadows will result in him doing something stupid because he wasn't thinking and processing fully about certain things. So far, he seems to be very level-headed. But I wonder, will him trying to prove himself to not just his father but to others will end up in him making a rash decision that can put him at jeopardy. So I was kind of really wondering about that. Also with Claudia, I really liked her glasses, by the way. I wonder, she has a lot of power, but it's because of her father. So I wonder, Walter knows things, and he knows I strongly believe he knows what his daughter is doing. I just wonder if he is going to actively put a stop to it and to start sabotaging her, because he genuinely feels a woman's place is in the kitchen or counting money. So that is kind of like the main things that they really didn't, they kind of touched upon, but they really didn't go out and explain. And also, once we do have the CBI and maybe the Yardies and the other ones team up together, I wonder how that's going to work, because anytime you bring in different people from different groups, there's always going to be fighting. There's infighting just in general within your own separate territories. I wonder what that's going to look like with them trying to join forces and to think cohesively. Then on top of that, we do have Diamond's brother, Gerard, who is still trying to set up Diamond. And, I'm going to take the whole thing. You'll never see him coming. So will he start sabotaging his deals with Tommy? And what was really interesting was that you saw the two brothers, they had that conversation. Well, basically was saying, you're going to have to choose Tommy or me. I said basically that's what it kind of boiled down to. He doesn't like the fact that when Tommy came, all of a sudden his brother is changing his ways and changing how he moves. And it's causing a lot of friction within the two brothers. And Gerard is blaming Tommy for all of this. So I wonder if Gerard is going to be the one who's going to start stepping up to Tommy. What will that look like? What is he going to do behind the scenes to maybe start sabotaging their relationship? And will that have more consequences with the Serbs? Maybe he'll start working with the Serbs without the brothers knowing in order to sabotage him. Or maybe the Serbs will be like, I don't care, and kill him. So there's a lot of things that's also kind of out at play that they're setting up. And the whole thing with Kate, like I said previously, Kate is going to have to, I hope, maybe step in and maybe give her side of the story, because they keep talking a lot about Kate. Everyone hates Kate at this point. But I wonder if Kate has anything to say about this. So that would be really good to know. And I'm still confused about Dahlia.
Okay, yeah. I definitely think we're due an appearance from Kate. So I think that's definitely coming. They keep talking about her, and when people are talking about you, your ears burn. Like you can feel it. You can feel it in your ears when people are talking about you. So she's feeling it right now in New York, and she's gonna show up. So yeah, I definitely think we're gonna see Kate. But Richard, was there anything else at all you wanted to mention about this episode that we haven't covered already?
Yeah, just three quick things to think about. Now, let's go to the Yardies. I know that you said you're looking forward to seeing the introduction of these characters. Here is the thing. When they had this meetup in this episode, the police was there, and you saw them now tailing, and going after the Yardies. My question is, well, are the Yardies going to think that they got set up by CBI and the Flynn family, and will they now come after them? That's something to think about, because I didn't think about that until y'all started talking about it further, because we never saw those characters before, and they had all agreed to meet. So I feel like now there's going to have to be a conversation to clear that up between Diamond and the guy in charge that he said that he knows, that's in charge of the Yardies. So we'll see if that comes. Second thing, they made it very clear in this episode to let you know that Vic is now trying to basically assert himself and get some type of control. And he's still doing stuff behind his dad's back. Claudia is as well. What is not clear is that Claudia, I don't think that Vic knows that Claudia is doing this stuff either with the drugs. And yet Tommy is the one that is in basically trying to get involved with both of them, watch both of them closely. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen when he does find out that she's doing this other thing. And as for Walter's reaction, we know that he obviously was not willing to support, Vic when he found out what he was doing. Will he be willing to support his daughter now? Because he knows that he did not leave a good impression with his son. We'll see. That's something to think about. And lastly, because Danny mentioned this earlier, we saw this random scene of Polly visiting his son, who is homeless, and giving him money. I think that scene was inserted into this episode because they want to show you this is somebody that's possibly going to die off of this new drug. And that may cause a rift. If he does find out, Claudia is the one that got this product out there, I think that's why that scene was put in this. But that's just my opinion. Because otherwise, that character is not important whatsoever. I'm thinking, why would they introduce this character? He has a drug problem, and Polly just gives his son money to do whatever. So he can use that money, end up getting this new product, and die. And then it has a ripple effect. So we'll see.
That's a great prediction right there. Like that's a good one. I think
yeah, it makes sense.
So were you finished, or did you have more?
I think that's it for right now. I did have a bit of a question.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have to go back and watch Power. I just want to say this last thing. The line that Tommy, when he had his interaction with Lilliana, and he made the comment about saying he's already dead, I was a little confused about that, because I thought we didn't find out about Tommy being dead until after he came back from New York, and the whole thing with Tariq, and then they had the car chase, and then it was alluded to that he possibly got killed in that. But when he made that comment, it made me feel, so this is definitely taking place after. It has to be taking place after then, because I was a little confused with that line. I don't know if y'all caught that. I'm pretty sure other viewers are going to mention that also, but I thought about that, but I didn't want to say anything because I don't remember exactly when Power ended. I just know the character left. I know he wasn't dead, but I do know that on the book 2, they made it look like he got killed. So that's why I question, when they asked, "Oh, what are you doing here? You know, you're supposed to be dead." Yeah, and he said, "Yeah, I'm already dead. I'm already dead." So I was a little confused about that, but that's it.
Yeah.
And
Guess who else we think is dead? That's not really dead.
Stop.
Ghosts.
Stop.
Ghosts.
You gonna say, Dana?
I was gonna say I was right, and also stop. Let Ghost stay dead. He did.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta bring him. Bring Ghost. But he's dead though.
Mm-hmm. But that timeline is janky now, because like, isn't this supposed to be 2020 or something?
Yeah, the sticker on his car said 2020. It said 12/20. So like this is taking place. So that's why, you know, unless he just never changed the registration, the never stuff on there. But remember, we did the whole thing when they first revealed that he got out of prison in the first episode, and he was googling who the brothers were, the Simpson brothers. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I remember on the thing, you got to read the phones, and I was like, it's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So what year is it in Ghost Book 2?
That's supposed to be that was the end of. I don't know. The time is all jacked up. I have to go back and look at that. But
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like the time messed up. It seems like, but yeah, great theories. I like that prediction about, you know, the drug, you know, potentially, you know, hurting that, you know, what's his name, Paulie.
His son, I don't remember what the son's name was. It was a very quick, random interaction. By the way, the son looked a lot. I mean, he looked a little bit too old to be his son, but you know,
that's just like his son. Like he could be
I don't know about
20s. That. He's on drugs, so he's
this guy looked like he well past his middle age. That son, that son.
He's on the drugs, and I'm sure he does some heroin and some meth. So that'll age you.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
And you had Todd Bridges on a Celebrity Big Brother, and you saw how old he looked.
No, yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
You're right about that. Right, Dana's right. It does age you, like when you take hard drugs and stuff.
I mean, he's not doing weed every day. Come on now.
But one thing I wanted to say was, I was hoping that Paulie would shave his mustache because, you know, he was flirting. Yep. And Lilliana said, maybe you should shave your mustache. You know, we can do something. I was hoping that he would actually like shave it, like, and like he wouldn't say anything about it. He'd just show up in the scene with his mustache shaved up.
Yeah, he might do it. Maybe.
That would be hilarious.
Funny.
But yeah, great points there. Please, people listening, you know, let us know all of your thoughts about what we talked about, and, you know, just predictions that you have of your own. So yeah, we're gonna get to our shout outs now. So Dana,
wait, one more thing. Sorry, I had this highlighted and I missed it. Diamond says that he wants nothing to do with the Serbs because they're too ruthless. Means Tommy has to go and do everything by himself. And that's what cued off the conversation with Diamond and his brother being like, "Oh, you finally listen to me." That whole situation there. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if Diamond is going to eventually help, because I feel that Tommy is going to need that help. So will Diamond step up to help him eventually, or will he watch Tommy try to do this by himself?
Well, I will say this: if Diamond does help, you know, Tommy gonna hold it against him and make his cut a lot less than what it would have been when they had that original agreement. Because he's like, yeah, you could have helped me. You could have helped me in the beginning, and you decided not to help. So I could see him altering whatever they agreed to. Okay, the deal's going to change now, but we'll see.
True.
Yeah, like, and or maybe like the Serbs, you know, you never know, they might shoot up the barbershop or something like that.
Yeah, yep.
So yeah, I think it won't take a lot for Diamond to get on board, I think, you know. But yeah, great point there. But yeah, was there anything else at all before we head into shout outs? Okay, so Dana, you can take it away. You got any shout outs for us?
Once again, thank you for everyone who listens to us, who watches the show. Thank you for your continued support. We have a lot of things coming up on both the site and the YouTube page. It is the Batman week. Yay. I legally am not allowed to say anything, but I can say we have interviews coming. You guys already saw one that's on the site already with the Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz. That is not the end of it. We have scheduled an interview every day for this upcoming week up until about March the 2nd. We're going to skip Sunday because this is when they post. Point is that I'm saying is we're going to have an interview every day leading up to the premiere of the Batman. Then it will be followed by the review embargo, drops on the 28th. That's when people can talk without threat of death. So look forward to that. We're going to be talking about that. That's going to be very exciting. And we have some other things that are coming up. But most importantly, Batman Week. We're gonna get Batman out of there, out of the way. We have cast interviews with everyone in the movie. So that is going to be lots and lots of fun. And then we're going to talk about the movie, which I can't say anything about now, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So yay. That's all I can't say anything.
Yeah. So look out for that. I'm actually looking forward to, Batman stuff. I'm hearing it's a good movie and everything. So yeah, I can't wait for that, So I'll be looking out for that for sure, that content.
Yes. Your people in the UK broke the embargo. Total Film and Empire Magazine all broke their embargo. And so what they said, I agree with.
Yeah, we're really naughty over here. We do stuff like that.
Naughty, so naughty.
Bro. But Rich, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for their continued support of the show. Please do leave your comments. Let us know what you thought about the episode. Let us know what you think about pretty much all of what's happening on Power right now. And just to let everybody know, we are going to be covering Snowfall. Gary and I did watch the first 2 episodes. So definitely look forward to us covering the show in the future because we have a lot to say. But a lot of great things to watch on TV right now. But yes, we appreciate your continued support. Look forward to talking to you all again next week.
Cool. Go ahead, Dana.
So one more thing, because this is technically Sunday when you're watching this. You have the Zoe Kravitz and the Robert Pattinson. So then you will see later up on the website, subscribe to notifications so that you can get the notifications for when this comes out. After that was going to be, oh my God, I had it in my head and I had a whole fart. Colin Farrell, who plays Penguin. We're gonna have Penguin, okay? And then Monday, we're gonna have Matt Reeves, the director. Tuesday, we're going to have John Turturro. We're going to also have Jeffrey Wright and Paul Dano, Riddler and Gordon. So, had to get that out.
Cool. Yeah, so
awesome.
Look out for that. I just want to give a big shout out to, all the regular supporters and listeners, Nelly Mack, Rainy J, Kwame, Robert Silva, all the people who constantly, show their support, Esther Negron as well, some familiar faces out there. So thank you to all you people for always, leaving your comments, your theories and feedback for us every week.
Shout out to Jeremiah also. I know he had some great questions last week.
Yeah, Jeremiah too. Yeah, definitely. So, that's pretty much it for this week. We will return next week for episode 5, the mid-season. Until then, stay healthy, everyone. If you go out to see Batman, be safe. COVID's still out there; it's lurking, but stuff is opening up a lot now. So, just be cautious. But we'll be back again next week. Until then, take care. See you later. Peace out.